Hello everyone. So I've been working away on the boat doing sanding and epoxy work and filling. You may see the boat's a bit higher because I lifted it up to get work at the bottom because the hull needed a bit of attention in places. There was a lot of gouges and scratches underneath the boat that I could have left, but I decided to just do the best job I possibly could and fill all those in with thickened epoxy and sand them back. And then I've covered the whole bottom of the hull here, all below the waterline, with a coat of just epoxy mixed up, just to give it a barrier coat all over the fiberglass of the hull. I'm also going to paint that with two-part epoxy paint primer that I've got, and that's arrived, and the paint for the top sides has all arrived as well. So I've also been working on doing some finishing work on the cabin and on the hull itself with fairing compound and sanding all of that. So endless amounts of sanding, mind-numbing amounts of sanding, which I've decided not to inflict you with. So now I'm actually moving on to, well, at the same time as I'm doing the filling and sanding, I'm going to work on the chain plates and widening the points where the chain plates attach. New chain plates are much bigger than the old ones, so I'm having to do a bit of reworking on the hull. It's also part of having a finish around them as well, so that's why I'm tackling that now. Yeah, so this is the new chain plate, and I'm just putting in the holes. There's another hole to be drilled down here at the bottom. I'm not going to drill that yet. I'm just using the two existing holes as a location point, just to mark where I'm going to have to cut out. So I'm going to have to cut the fiberglass here on this hull to deck joint and make good around that afterwards. So this is all the filling that I've been doing with epoxy and the fairing compound. Just all the places where I cleaned it up and sanded into the edge there, just rounding off those corners again, making them good. Little pieces like that on the hull, and of course on the cabin top itself. I've just done the transom with some fairing compound just to smooth it out, make it look a lot better than it did, because there was a lot of filling I had to do on that where there was other fixtures and stuff attached to it, the outboard mount and all that kind of stuff. So just try and make it look as nice as possible. I know I'm going to have to mount all that stuff back on again, but might as well tidy it up now when I have the chance. I'm just squaring off these corners where the router didn't get into the core to square it, so I just left it to square up the end of it where the panel goes in on top. So all the corners need just a little bit of trimming back, just where this router edge ends. Just square it off like that. I could trim the panel, but that's not the point. I'd rather square it and do it as nicely and neatly as possible. Right, so I've come to the point where I'm going to glue together this companionway hatch, and you may notice these clamps here that I got. Now I got these of course at the car boot sale, and I got them for a price that even made me feel guilty, to the point that I asked the man who was selling them to me, are you sure you don't want more for them? These two clamps here, which are probably €50 worth a piece, I got the two of them for €5. So that's a bargain. That's a bargain and a half. Okay, so I'm gluing this together using Casamite glue, and I'm just going to glue this up together off camera because it's just gluing the frame together. That's basically it. Over the past couple of weeks there's been some bright sunshine for some days, but we've also had a lot of rain. At the moment we've had torrential rain for the past 2 days, so I haven't been able to do anything else on the boat outside. Now I have been doing some sanding of the hull and epoxy work as well, but to be honest about it, I'm sick of editing videos showing me doing sanding and epoxy, so I'm pretty sure you're sick of looking at it. So I'm not going to inflict any more of that on you until something major happens with the hull and that side of the boat. So what I'm working on now, because of bad weather once again, is component parts of the boat. So this is a piece of aluminium profile, which is some window section from the job I used to work at, doing windows and doors and stuff like that. So I have this piece of profile left, and what I want to make with using this is a piece to fit on the inside of the companionway hatch, so when it's in place it can't be lifted up. So it's a retaining profile to hold the hatch in place, so it will slide freely backwards and forwards, but you can't prise it up from the front to the back. Make it a bit more secure. No point just having it sitting there because someone can just go along and lift it off. So that's what this is about. So the profile wasn't a right angle, it had another kind of piece on the inside of it, and so I've just ground that off, cut it away first of all, and then ground it down to make it flat. So that's what I have here, and this is a piece for both sides of the hatch, so I just have to cut this in half to get the piece to fit. Now this is going to fit on the inside of the companionway hatch. It's going to fit on this edge here on the inside, so where the runner that the hatch slides on will be sitting here, and then this profile will sit down, it will be screwed into here on the inside and hook underneath the edge of that runner that the hatch runs on. So that will be the same on both sides, running the full length here. So once that's in place you won't be able to lift up either the front or the back. Glue the hatch together. I'm making these runners to retain on the actual slides that it runs on, just hook in underneath those to keep it secured down. And I've made these out of aluminium here, and I'm trying to trim them to size. Two of them are completely different, and it's just a case of fitting and trimming and fitting and trimming, because I don't want to take it all off at once and make a mess and then have to start from scratch again. So I'll just mark these, and I'm using a piece of stainless steel here. I have just a U-channel, just clamping it down, fixing the piece of aluminium with the screw holes that are going to fix it in place on the hatch, just screwing them in place on this piece of scrap timber here just to hold the piece of angle stationary, and then clamping this U-channel on top at the appropriate measurement in on it, and then using the grinder with the thin disc in it just to slice them off. I mean, it'd be handy to do this in some kind of a bench saw with a aluminium cutting blade in it, but I don't have that to hand, so I'm just using what I have. Aluminium is dangerous stuff to be cut with a grind. You really always need to use eye protection, because you get a piece of steel in your eye and go to the hospital, get a magnet and take it out. Aluminium, no such luck. You get it stuck in there, it's physically pulling it out, poking it out, or living with it for the rest of your life. So Okay, so I've got these angles cut and put in place on the hatch and holding it in place to stop it pulling out. And after considerably more time than I probably should have taken, I have it working just the way I want it. It's open fully forward now. The mast tabernacle is probably going to interfere with that a little bit, but at least it'll run as far as it can possibly run now at the minute, and the full opening will depend on the mast tabernacle. But that's it. And then of course it has to have all the panel has to be fixed in place on it, and then it has to have all the Iroko strips put on it as well. Oh, one more thing. It all takes so much more time than it should. But that's boat building or boat renovation, I suppose. Yeah, so you know how I have this project sailboat that I'm working on, and it's you know, keep me fairly busy. Well, guess what I've done? I've gone and bought another project boat, but this is a little smaller one. This is a tender for the main boat, and this is it here. It's not very big, as you can see, but it's a good solid fiberglass boat. It needs all the timber work replaced in it completely, but it's something I can do with probably all the offcuts and things of all the other jobs I'm doing on the main boat. So it's not really going to cost me a whole lot of materials. The boat itself cost me €40. It remains to be seen whether that was a bargain or not. So I have the dinghy home now, and I'm just basically stripping off every bit of timber off it. It's just kind of rotten plywood that's held on with some kind of, look like drywall screws. So I don't think there's a whole lot of attention to detail in putting this together, but look, it's all rotted away, all this timber, so it's really not a problem. Just get rid of it. The hull is, it's sound. It's a little bit old, maybe probably the same vintage as my sailboat, 30 odd, 40 odd years old, but it's all there, it's sound. So the whole timber is stripped off the boat now, and it's a clean slate, ready to start just sealing up any leftover holes and whatever in the boat, screw holes and things, and get it ready for new timber and put it back in working order. Needs a bit of a clean. I have to power wash it off. That'll be the next thing, but I'm not going to do that now this evening. This is the underside of the boat. It's not in bad condition, just needs a bit of clean. It's 7 foot 9 inches long and 3 foot 6 inches at the widest point. Okay, so that brings us to the end of another episode. If you enjoyed watching this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.